Hello and welcome to the WAZA YouTube channel. I'm Rosa Pons, Head of Communications at WAZA, and today we are delighted to be joined by Professor Dr. Jörg Junhold, Director of Zoo Leipzig and former WAZA President, and of course winner of the Heine Hediger Award. Under his leadership, Zoo Leipzig has become one of Europe's most modern and innovative zoos, with its ambitious Zoo of the Future project and setting new standards in sustainability, animal welfare, and visitor experience. Professor Dr. Junhold, thank you for being with us today.
It's my pleasure.
Amazing. To start, how would you introduce yourself in your own words?
Well, I grew up in the countryside, so I'm well aware of nature life, of farming life, and I would say this has also created my love for animals. Later, I became a veterinarian and a manager at the pet food industry. And in the late 90s, when my hometown Leipzig was looking for someone who had experience with animals, but is also a leader and has the management skills which are necessary. I applied for the directorship, and this was really one of my best decisions in my life. And I could combine my love for animals and also my ability to organize things. And that's fantastic.
Yeah, and you've been director of Zoo Leipzig since 1997, an incredible tenure. So, what were those early years like, and how did they shape your vision for the zoo?
Honestly, the first years were very hard. The zoo was in a bad condition, and I had to develop a strategy and, of course, an ambitious plan for the future. And it took us about 2 years to shape our vision. It was not easy managing the zoo on a daily basis, but also create this future vision and this future plans. But at the end, we succeeded, and everyone was happy that we developed that strategy.
And actually, developing this Zoo of the Future project was very bold and ambitious. What was your biggest challenge in bringing this vision to life, and also how did you overcome it?
Still, I think the biggest challenge was getting the political opinion leaders to support the vision. That was not easy because we were not the first priority to them. And I had to attend many, many meetings to persuade people and to convince them that we are doing the right thing. So we expanded our PR work so that also the broader public could be behind our plans. I think that was the biggest challenge.
And what about visitor experience? I mean, visitor experience at your zoo is frequently highlighted as world class, and I've been there, I've seen it. How do you strike balance between creating an inspiring visitor journey and also keeping conservation and animal welfare at the heart of it all?
You have to be excellent on both sides, the animal side and also the visitor expectations. And I say it's always our first priority that we always think of the needs of our animals. And then we try to create a real relaxing adventure. And with our nature-like enclosure, we try to give the visitor the impression that they do their own safari in our park, and that also always supported, of course, with service and with restaurants, so that people can relax on the one side, and on the other side, they can also learn a lot about animals.
Yeah, you actually mentioned learn. How have you adapted educational programs at Zoo Leipzig to encourage more active involvement from the public in conservation, just beyond simply visiting the zoo?
I'm convinced that education next to conservation is one of the most important objectives of a zoo in the 21st centuries. And we started very early in Zoo Leipzig. So like many German zoos, we have a zoo school since 1969. And nowadays, 12,000 students annually go to this school classes and to these lessons which is, I think, a fantastic number. That's just one example. But it's also celebrating, for example, children's birthday. We have about 5,000 of these children's birthday where they come with their friends, visiting us and also the animals, have behind the scenes tours, and getting also trained on the animals, so their knowledge on animals, I'm sure, will increase, but also on conservation.
Very good. And also, I know Zoo Leipzig has become a reference point for also immersive and more naturalistic habitats. Is there one exhibit or program that you feel it best represents your philosophy, and what impact has this one had?
Or I could have more than one example, but I would like to focus on Gondwana Land, of course. Gondwana Land is a giant greenhouse representing the tropical rainforest. And I always say when I'm standing in front, or when I'm standing within Gondwana Land and having a group of people around me, that is exactly what we want, that people are feeling that they're not in Middle Europe, that they are not in the zoo, but smelling and listening like in the jungle. And I think that is, Gondwana Lands reflects that perfectly. And the surrounding for the animals, then the nature-like enclosures, which is fantastic.
Definitely. Is this being immersed into it, as you said, smelling? It also in the recent years, digital tools and virtual engagement have kind of become very important for zoos and aquariums. How has your zoo embraced this type of innovation to reach audiences beyond just the gates at the zoo?
So marketing and communications was always one of our key management tools we used, and we are very active in PR work. But in the last 10 years, I would say we are also very active on social media. So we have a well-developed, not only Facebook, but also Instagram and TikTok channel for the younger generation. And just recently, 2 years ago, we reopened our education center, which is now a 360-degree cinema. And in this cinema, we are talking about our conservation work, which is, um, so to speak, immersed, that you are in between in the 360-degree channel, so that you are outside, for example, in Vietnam, and you can exploring our work, our conservation work in Vietnam. And another tool, for example, also just recently, it's the so-called Children's University, where we give talks about our local conservation projects, and that's very popular also for the really youngest children between 8 and 13, and they're listening very carefully.
That's really impressive and good developments in the past few years. You've served as Zoo Leipzig's director for nearly 3 decades. So probably in 30 years, you've witnessed a lot of change in the global zoo and aquarium community. So what do you think we as a community must focus on to remain relevant and also effective in conservation over the next 25 years?
As said already, we need to focus on the young generation, which is really important, I think. And we need to use for that all means to reach them. So that means we need to understand how they communicate. We need to understand how they learn, so that we can have a focus. Another focus is animal well-being. More and more people are concerned, and they think that our animals, they need more than a zoo. And it's up to us, I think, that we have the right communication and that we're doing the right thing, but also being professional when it comes to keeping our animals. And the second thing I would say is political lobbying, so that we are in the middle of the society and also influencing the laws, and to influencing also the future politics, so that we all together are doing the right things.
That's great. I mean, you've mentioned the youth, the younger generations, animal welfare, and even loving. Are there any upcoming projects or collaborations in kind of those three focuses that you're particularly excited about or working really hard towards?
Yeah, we have really worked very hard on our local conservation project that is for hamsters, the common hamster. And recently we received funding from the EU Life program. So we got with many partners now the funds and the monies that we really can extend our efforts to saving hamsters breeding and also to reintroduce them in our region within the next 2 years. And we also use this to communicate our work, and I'm really excited how the people around us in our region are really take part of this, and they are really love that we are doing such things.
Talking about the future and looking to the future, what advice would you give future leaders of the zoo and aquarium community as they take on big, great challenges in conservation, climate change, and public trust?
Yeah, first of all, I think also in the future we need professional excellence. We need personalities who are responsible and who are convinced deep from their heart in conservation and in animals. We need charismatic personalities with a lot of communication skills. And from my American friends, I have learned a saying which I've always find very inspiring: walk the talk and talk the walk. And that's, I think, fantastic summarizes that you always have to be honest, but also, of course, future oriented, and so people can trust you, and then you will be a great leader, I think.
That's great. Also, you were was a president for a term. How was your experience as was a president, and what achievement you made during those 2 years you feel most proud about?
I think it was the work on the first animal welfare strategy, which came out of my presidency. So the so-called ethical framework, we had a lot of discussions about it, but also the one plan approach, which came out at that time, and living that one plan approach, and to sharpen and to extend the international collaboration with all the international and worldwide acting breeding programs. That was our time, and I think the council at that time has done also a great job, like the current council does.
That's amazing. No, and it's been a guide that it's been, for more than 10 years guiding the community. So that's a great achievement to be proud of. Finally, is there a book or film or podcast that recently influenced you or inspired your approach to leadership or conservation?
I will try to say not recently, but in the past, which is, I think, still a very great work. It's Bernhard Grzimek, the German zoo director of Frankfurt, and he gets the first Oscar, winning the Oscar award for his film Serengeti Should Not Die. This is a film I saw when I was very young, and it's still inspiring, and I showed it also my children, and they were inspired as well.
Oh, that's lovely. We'll make sure to link it as well in the episode so everyone can have a look at it.
Perfect.
Let's finish with two very quick fire questions. So short answers only. We want to get to know you a bit better in a personal level. If you were not leading a zoo, what profession would you have chosen instead?
I would be a veterinarian for horses.
Nice. And what's your favorite animal at Zoo Leipzig and why?
Favorite animals are elephants for me, and especially our bull, Nam. He was born in Leipzig. So elephants are fantastic, strong, have a great memory, and of course, a lot of social skills.
And they're beautiful as well. Amazing. Professor Dr. Junhold, thank you for sharing your journey, your vision with us today from, your leadership at Zoo Leipzig, but also your insights as former WAZA president and also on the future of this community. For everyone watching, we'll link also the website of Zoo Leipzig below. Don't forget to subscribe for more interviews with global conservation leaders like Jörg. Jörg, is there a final message you would like to share with the global zoo and aquarium community?
Just to say, it has always been a privilege to work with this fantastic community. It was always inspiring and motivating for me. And meanwhile, I have friendships all over the world, and I would like to stay with this community as long as possible.
Thank you. That's lovely. And thank you all for watching. See you next time on the WAZA channel. Bye.
Bye bye.